Okay, I think you're... Whoop!
Okay, hang on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, welcome to Paintucation by Kevin Tetz. Thanks for being here on the channel. We got Derek here today.
Hello.
He wanted to see the truck because I haven't let him see the truck. I'm saying no, stay away. But we've got a good part of it painted, and he's been nosing around, and we've talked about stuff before. It's always fun to work with you, and it's fun to hang and all that type of stuff. But we've been talking about spraying and spray technique, and I've seen work that you've done, and it looks really nice.
Oh, wow, thank you.
And you've got stuff, I'm talking about restored cars, like your Buick, the two-tone one. So you can spray, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing in and around the body shop. I don't want you guys to think that I'm standing here saying I'm gonna teach Derek how to paint, because Derek knows how to paint. But you were talking about bad habits, so.
Right. It's gonna be nice to get a refresher on the right way to do things, and also unlearn some bad habits. And like you say, try to find a quilt or a way to bring both worlds together. Understanding and learning all the principles and basics and whys really does help, even when you're trying to do a cheaper paint job.
Yeah.
You have to understand the chemistry and how to apply it, and the wrong ways and the right ways. So this is gonna be fun for me.
Yeah.
And learning anything from you is fantastic. I'm absolutely blown away this is even happening, to be honest.
Well, I appreciate it very much. All I've said for the last 25 years while I've been helping people do this and hopefully passing on some skills to other people is that the one thing that we have to do is make the paint happy. And you talked about the difference between like a home painter and a professional shop, and the paint doesn't know. The paint doesn't know the difference. Oh, it's this phrase that I learned a long time ago called best practice, and it's basically paying attention to what the materials need.
Right.
So that's what we're going to do, but what do you think about this?
This is incredible. I should have brought my razor because I could shave in this thing. The roll pan looks fantastic. This bed is unbelievable. I mean, all the parts that you've sprayed so far. The bumper looks fantastic. The grill looks fantastic. And really sets us up for an awesome paint job here. We're painting, right? We're gonna paint?
Oh yeah, we're gonna spray. We're gonna go in the booth and see what we're gonna spray. But I just wanted to show you this. I'm super proud of it, man. I mean, the guys that have been following my channel know how much time and minutia just hammering over details on straightening out panels and things like that. And it's paid off. And you can see
the lines are so sharp.
Well, that's the thing, like, and if you've watched any of the episodes, you know that I've spent a lot of time with guide coats and blocks and talking about, and 4 stages of blocking on this, and we're not even done. We still have to surface down the clear coat once it's set up and cured enough. But one of the things that I think is the neatest part of this are the wheel tubs.
Yeah, they actually look original. Like, they don't look like they've been modified, and everything has fit so nice. And you've done such a good job with the seam and up around here as well.
Well, it looks original. It's not, and it's going to take somebody with a trained eye to see that it's not. And I'm not going to show you the bed floor that we've got for this thing, but trust me, it's going to knock your socks off. So.
This looks great, Kevin.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
This started as just scratch it and shoot it, and you're like, yeah, I'll do it. And then this. It's like, oh my goodness.
Well, you kept talking about Zed Sled, and I thought, okay, let's do Zed Sled on this thing. But
no, it's beautiful. It really is beautiful. And now I'm nervous because I've got to really pull a rabbit out of the hat here on the rest of the truck to match what you've done. You've set par.
I've done this to myself in the past where I've gone too far and I'm afraid of it. I don't want you to be afraid of this. This is affordable budget materials, including your 1776 clear on several of the parts, the mirrors and all of this stuff. And that's a very affordable product, and I'm happy with it. But we're using Nason products, which is it's an Axalta line, but everybody that knows paint knows Nason has been around for decades.
Yeah.
And it's a very affordable paint line. So my point is, don't be afraid of this stupid thing, man. There's always more paint in the can. And it's not going to take much to, now if you take out a mailbox or clean out a ditch, That's different.
Very possible. It's very possible. I know it will get rock chips. It's going
Yeah.
to be hanging rubber.
Yeah.
You know, we keep talking about the truck's going to get used, but having the foundation and the bodywork already there, it's not going to be bad to reshoot the bottom of the bed.
No,
something like that.
Not at all, not at all. And I don't know if you know this or not, but it's pretty easy to lose traction with that truck. so hopefully you'll be able to steer with the back end and stuff. And let's go look at the cab.
All right. Yeah, I did notice 2 of the tires are slightly balder than the other 2.
Sorry.
I don't know how that happened.
All right, so here's the truck.
All taped up. I told Kevin I was coming here to tape. I put my taping pants on and
Well,
you got it ready to go.
I had a good friend here helping me paint the bed and stuff, Jeremy Winters from Booth Talk and AccuDraft Spray Booths, and Jeremy's a really good technician. He's a 20-year technician in collision repair. But what we're going to do is we're going to go down the rabbit hole with you and me of procedure. And I might be a little over the top, but I want to show you what goes into my thought process and my process that has been trained into me for application.
Okay.
For doing this, I'm not going to say the right way, but doing this in a way that makes the paint happy.
Okay.
And makes everything else happy, from the surface to everything else. But
Well, I'm going to have a lot of questions from a DIY standpoint,
Yeah.
and then you can help me. I know you will answer those questions and yes and no's and do's and don'ts, and you get away with this, maybe not that.
Yeah,
And
oh, yeah.
then I guess we'll put it into real world
Yeah.
application. It's going to be fun.
Well, I don't know why I feel like I have to be careful about this, but I just have to say it out loud. I never, ever, ever want to talk down to anybody. I want to help guys. I want to help people. And I want to show through you different things that can be applied to a home shop environment.
Yeah.
And gun handling techniques and spray techniques and all those types of things. So I'm stoked, man. So thanks for coming. Thanks for being a part of this.
No, thank you for everything you've done and creating a beautiful truck here. To me, this is surreal that we're even doing this, and I know I keep saying that, but you're obviously a legend in this, and I hope everyone else is going to learn as much as I'm already learning. This is going to be a lot of fun. So what are we doing, like 3 coats of base probably?
We're going to be using a sealer,
Okay.
3 coats of color, and 2 coats of clear.
Okay.
And so the reason we're using a sealer is because I use it on every other part. And there's the odd chance that if we don't use a sealer on here, we might get a mismatch between the cab corner and the bedside in the right light. That's rule number 1, best practice: repeat, rinse and repeat.
Consistency.
Yeah, consistency, absolutely, that's it. We're gonna be looking like freaking astronauts. So one of the tools that I use, well, it's this right here. We're gonna be using fresh air hoods. It's the best protection. But the better reason for using fresh air hoods is because we're going to be using these radios. I don't know if you guys have ever tried to talk in a paint booth, but it's really loud. And you can't, most of the time you got to pull your mask off to talk.
Wait a minute, you don't hold your breath until you're out of paint and then run outside and get fresh air? That's not normal?
Not today.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to be using these two-way radios that are going to give us the ability to talk to each other. These hoods will go over top of the radios. So we're going to be suited up, we're going to be hooded up, which makes it a safer spray experience. We can hang around in the fumes without worrying about anything. I'll do a coat and I'll talk about it, and then you can do a coat, and it'll just be like one of my in-person training classes.
Yeah.
So
This is great too. You told me this is, how much is this suit?
Oh, those are cheap. Yeah, those are $12.
I got to start doing this because I ruin my clothes. My wife doesn't get happy. Plus, it makes for a better environment because my shirts aren't hanging out loose, all this material, hoses aren't getting wound in things.
It's cheap insurance. We want to protect the work against us. And it's just one of those best practice things. It's cheap insurance, your clothes don't smell like urethane, and nothing is going to fall into the paint.
We won't mention that you got me a 5XL, but that's okay.
He told me what size.
This is going to be fun. I'm fired up.
We're going to be using Nason. I've already got color mixed. And we're also going to be using, this is the sealer. It's a Nason XL 1-coat sealer. This is a base coat. Actually, it's an acrylic enamel base coat. It's a 1-to-1 mix. And then our clear is Nason XL.
This system here, this is a slow activator, so you can get fast, you can get medium.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it just gives us options. So also, part of best practice, we're going to figure out where to be.
Nice.
We'll take a sample of the temperature on the surface, and that dictates which one of these
Which hardener to use.
Yeah.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
cool.
I've cleaned that truck 5 different times, but we're going to clean it again. You know why?
So I was in there going, oh, wow. Kevin's going, I'm like, so smooth, Kevin.
So we're going to go through the cleaning process and the cleaning steps. For now, we're going to get up into our suits. So let's PPE up and then get after it.
Sounds good.
Now, of course, we didn't need our fresh air hoods because we're not spraying anything yet. But the spray suits keep contamination from falling off our clothes, getting into the spray environment, into the booth. You got to treat it like a clean zone, whether it's a homemade booth or a booth like mine. We're using 2 very different cleaners. One is a water-based cleaner and one is a solvent-based cleaner. As Derek cleans a panel and lets it dry off in the booth, I'll follow him with the solvent-based cleaner.
Boy, it gets hot in here quick.
But yeah, you're right underneath the heater. You got to hit it and get it in here with the air on, especially with some heat. But it's really a bad idea to let this stuff dry on the surface. If it picks up contamination, it can redeposit it and concentrate it.
Oh.
The reason we're using 2 types of cleaner is because there's 2 distinctly different types of contamination.
What is that cleaner?
This is just a wax and grease remover. It's an exhaustant cleaner. Every paint manufacturer has a pre-cleaner that's a mild solvent. But for you guys at home, if you don't have this, you can go to your farm supply store and get naphtha, N-A-P-T-H-A. We've talked about that before when we did the F100. It's a good solvent pre-cleaner as well. So Derek's going to tack, and I'm going to anti-stat. So the tack rag that he's got, it needs to be wiped over every single square inch of the surface. And it's a non-tacky tack rag, so it's actually it's not going to deposit anything onto the surface. So I'll follow him, I'll chase him. He can tack, and I'll go ahead and anti-static. You got the whole route?
Yep.
This equipment uses a stream of air that gets deionized and eliminates the static charge off of any surface.
And they don't advertise this, but it's kind of like a dry rehearsal. So I can see where I can reach
Oh, yeah.
and all that type of stuff. So it's a really good idea to chase down your project, figure out your direction, where you're going to go from panel to panel. One thing that I saw with you in there, Derek, is your
Not flexible?
no, we both share that. Your suit's ballooning in the middle.
Yes.
I don't want to accentuate your girlish figure, but we need to
Hit
control
me.
that.
Yeah,
so
hit me.
We're gonna give you a slim waistline. Grab that around the front. There we go. That's gonna control that. Well, actually, we'll have a belt on anyways for the fresh air hoods. All right, so this is our data sheet. And thank you for making a data sheet available for your products.
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
important, man. They're laid out a little bit differently, but it's good information on the 1776.
So it's a 4-to-1 mix ratio,
Yes,
1 coat application,
yes.
15-minute flash. Also gives you recommended tip and pressure. So that's why this stuff's important, right? Even surface prep.
Absolutely. So what speed of reducer should we use?
Let's see. Well, we got to figure out our temperature,
Yeah,
right?
I'll
Let's
be right
start
back.
there.
All right, so our surface temp is 75 degrees, which is freaking perfect.
Yeah,
So-
because everything in here is coming in at, looks like they tested everything here at 77 degrees. is
Yep. Some products want you to dial right in on that surface temp. These products, I always like to say about 10 degrees above in the temperature recommendation. So since we're 75, we're going to use slow stuff. Doesn't really affect technique, it just affects the way it dries.
Okay.
So the first product is a sealer.
Yeah.
Yeah, always stir your stuff. I'm lucky enough to have a paint shaker here, but
Yeah, I strapped mine to the riding lawnmower and cut some grass, and by the time I'm done. Okay, so theoretically, we're spraying a car at home.
Yep.
Do I need to use a sealer, or can I just throw it right over primer? Or is it primer then sealer, sealer then primer? What is the process? And you've already explained why we're using a sealer. We have the different color pieces and panels. When do we use sealer, and is it necessary?
The function of a sealer is to create a uniform ground coat for your color to sit on.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
If all your primer is one color, and it's all gray, or you're just doing a scuff and shoot and shooting a car and it's all the same color, just sanded, you don't need a sealer.
Okay.
We have 5 different colors, 2 different stages of primer, original paint, not original paint, all that stuff poking through, a couple little sand throughs, and that's why we need a sealer.
So to create kind of a visual, if we had an old square body and you got a red fender and a blue fender and a black hood and some spot
Yep.
bodywork and a primered bed,
Yeah.
sealer is necessary. Otherwise, that color tint could be different.
Oh, and it hurts when it bites you.
Yeah.
I've brought cars and they look great in the booth, and you bring them outside and the customer comes to get them and the fender's slightly lighter than the door. And that'll break your heart and cost you money and time, and nobody wants that. So in that sense, yes, for sure. And the other mistake that people make is they depend on a sealer to cover up sand scratches that they missed. It's not a Band-Aid. It's not thick enough. It's a single coat product designed to have an even ground coat. That's it.
So you need to have your finish coat done in primer. That's it. That's
Yes.
your body work.
And sand and prime, right?
Yeah.
So each one of these TDS sheets tells you
Yep.
how you need to sand, what do you need to prep, what grit you need to prep with.
Yep.
Should be sanded to, for metallics and a solid color. Each one gives a recommendation. So they're not my rules, but they are the rules.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Good information. Boy, someone spilt a lot of paint in here one time. I don't know what happened.
Yeah,
there.
I'm still cleaning that stuff up. I don't know who that was.
Sorry, Kevin. Sorry. So I found the torque limit on the cups. I don't think that's good. Maybe he won't notice. He probably won't know. He probably won't figure it out. I gotta figure out how to clean this quickly.
What's the mix ratio for the sealer?
Sealer is 4-to-1 mix ratio.
So these cups make that super easy. There's also sticks. You've got some of these, right? The mixing sticks.
No, not the. I got the old wood ones that leave particles in the paint.
So I've made these with a piece of aluminum, right? You guys at home, you don't have a mixing stick. Just do 1-inch increments and then cut them in half, and then you got your parts, right?
Nice.
Right here, homemade mixing stick.
Oh, smart.
That's at 1/2-inch increments. They're just scribed onto the surface. So in a pinch, I can tell what my parts are. But these guys, these are nice to have. 2-to-1, 2-to-1, but we've got them on the mixing cups and they're really accurate.
It looks like you like pre-mixing your products so you're not scrambling in between sessions. Or do you recommend that? Okay.
It's like the base coat here. This is left over from the bed. RTS means ready to spray. It's already been reduced. This has been mixed, but not reduced. So I just make notes.
Okay.
I make notes because I'm an idiot and I forget what I'm
Right.
doing all the time.
Right.
So
And everything has a pot life too. So once they're ready to go, you got to start moving.
Yeah. If you guys at home have never heard of what a pot life is, it's pretty important. It's the time that you add your catalyst into your products. It's the amount of working time that you have while that product doesn't change very much. Mm-hmm. Once you add the hardener, it cross-links, right? It becomes something else. So pot life, pay attention to your pot life. It's in the TDS and...
Yeah, so for example, this one's 1 hour. So if we were to mix this up, and then I talk him into going to get a Philly cheesesteak and a wobble pop, and we come back in 1 hour and 20 minutes, we can't spray that anymore. We've just wasted product.
Right, right.
It can be top coated in 15 minutes. And what's the max? 1 hour maximum.
Okay,
So we got a 15 to 1 hour window.
right. So that's pretty important, because if you want to spray your sealer and then come back the next day, well, it's going to harden over on the top. Your paint's not going to stick. It's going to blow off in the breeze like those 1980s Chevrolets. That's never good. 4.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Wipe its chin. So what we're going to do when we go in the booth is we got a test panel up there. I don't want to bust you, but I want to show you some new techniques that
Yeah,
you might not be used
absolutely.
to. So I'll show
100%.
you kind of the way I spray, and we'll talk about the reasons why.
Yeah, I'm here to learn, man. So we're using a black sealer, I assume, so if it chips, we don't have a gray or a white underneath.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
When I run this through a barbed wire fence, there's a chance the scratch won't be too bright.
Also, what's the most expensive part of a paint job? It's the color.
Color
and then the clear right after that. But if I've got a sealer, a ground coat that's close to my top coat color, it takes less product. So I mean, it's a collision repair strategy. So I didn't strain into the mixing cup. That way I can see the stuff on the side. But into our spray cup, 100% will strain into that. But I always mix into a separate cup and strain into the spray cup. That's just me. Are you picking up on that I'm severely OCD?
Yes. But you have to be. If you want great results, I mean, you can't skip steps, right? So.
No, you can't. Like I said, the paint has no agenda. It's just what we do with it. And also, the thing that I like to repeat over and over again is that there's no such thing as bad paint. There's no bad products. There's no, oh, that paint's horrible. You see that online all the time. Oh, this clear sucks, or that color sucks, or this paint line, blah, 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 blah. There's no bad paint. There's only misunderstood paint.
I like what you told me earlier. I think it was paint doesn't have a brain, or paint doesn't know what you're doing with it. So we're in control of the environment. Because I was asking him, you know, would this change if we were, and the answer is absolutely yes. If we were outside or painting under a tree or in a garage or in a homemade booth, every one of those environments is different. So you can't take the same exact practice and apply it to all of those.
That's why something like this is online. I got this from the Amazonian site.
The Jungle website.
The Jungle website, thank you. This was $15.
Okay.
So this gets you really close.
Yep, the sealer.
I use a base coat gun.
Okay.
It's a 1.3 primer setup, and I prime with a 1.3 as well, because I want it smoother. I don't want to waste all that time knocking off the orange peel, right?
Actually, you helped me with that. I think I'm doing the same now.
Yeah, good. You can tell a lot about the health of a gun by the pea stream.
Pea stream. I think the same goes for men too.
If it's nice and round and consistent, then you know there's nothing in the needle and seat. This is a carburetor, right?
Yep.
Air, fuel, atomization. So the needle and seat has to be functional.
That's a great way to look at it. The tip is the Venturi. That's your jet size, basically.
Yeah.
Look at that.
See? All right.
Awesome.
So we're going to PPE up, and we'll meet you in the booth.
7 1/8. You got a small head.
I don't know if that's a compliment or an insult. I can't figure out whether he's dogging me or not.
This is gun control, the magic top. It is nice though. Wow.
One of the best things about good PPE is that you don't ever have to think about your PPE, right? The way I spray and the way I'm going to coach you to spray is not spraying like that, we're spraying like that.
Okay.
We want to know and keep a consistent gun distance off the panel, right? This one's got a gauge on the back side. See that? No, that's just air. I'm not painting Derek. So that's going to monitor our adjustments up and down. Never assume anything. Ask you me, right? So what we're going to do is preset. TDS tells us 26-ish.
Yep.
I set it at the gun. My air cap was crooked. Now it's good. We always test, not on our project, against some other panel, right?
Okay.
So we know our gun works. We're good to go. We're good to spray. I'm going to do a little bit of the fender, and then I'll ask you to spray the rest of it.
Okay.
We're going to start from the bottom. So, obviously we start off the panel, right?
I have a question.
Yes.
Do we edge the panel first, or are we just going for it?
I'm so glad you asked that question. I used to edge the panel first and then paint the top side. Okay. And in theory, it makes sense because you're edging the panel, you're making sure you're not missing any gaps or anything like that. And then you paint the important side, the face side, right? But what you're also doing is double coating the edges. This is a one coat sealer, one single coat, not a coat and a half. We're gonna spray. And then we come back and we look. Now I've got a little bit in there. Now I can just dust that in. And I'm not overcoating the top. Face side first, then your edges.
And I guess if you wanted to be really precise, you could bring your fan in too to kind of just edge around a lip, bring it in a little bit?
You could, but the problem with that is that the same amount of paint is coming out with a narrower tip, and so you're super coating those areas.
Yeah.
So I don't recommend doing that at all. Watch my gun speed. It's pretty fast, right? Instead of going, I know that's a full wet coat. I want you to lock something into your brain. We're not putting a coat on. We're not applying a coat. We're building a coat. So, see the overspray? You can see the color through it?
Yep.
That's referred to as open structure. But what that means is that there's space in between the droplets. Watch what happens when I come back across it. Now it's closed structure. When I'm doing one full wet coat, yeah, that's closed structure, but I'm flirting with too much material. And when I do like a pass, see how I'm building that up?
Yep.
I'm building the coat nicely with tiny droplets that are going to join together and form the thinnest possible coat while still being a full coat. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you're using the overlap to create the closed structure rather than one thin application. Because this is a 1/2 mil to 1 mil application product. It's not heavy.
No, it's not, because we're not covering up scratches, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not. It's not a repair product. It's a sealer product. All right. So I'll just watch you, and I'll give you the buzzer if I think I need to. All right. Hold on. Whoa. Where'd you start?
Over here.
6 inches off the panel always.
Okay.
The reason why, and also start with air moving and then meter in the paint. When you pull that trigger all at once, it overpressurizes. So if you're set at 26, it's going to be 32 and then normalize to 26. So start off the panel and paint into the panel.
Okay.
And closer to the surface. Yeah. So that's a nice full coat. That's good. It looks good. There you go. That's a full wet coat right there.
Okay, I've always been doing that wrong. So I usually try to go lighter on the trigger when I'm edging.
And it's fine to do that, but when I train people, I train procedure, repeat, over and over again. It's super important to do to have the recipe. All right, so there's our test panel. We're good to go. What I'm going to do after I squirt paint on myself is I'm going to do the driver's fender, and we'll work our way up the vehicle.
Okay. What is the advantage of not starting on the roof and coming down? Is it better to have product fall on the prepped surface or on a painted surface?
Think about it this way. If I start at the back end and work with my airflow, the air is going to carry the overspray and it's going to land on the dry stuff.
Okay.
So that by the time I come down here, it's dry, and then I have to overcoat it to cover up that dry spray. But we've got 1 coat of sealer, 3 coats of color, and 2 coats of clear. We've got 6 coats of material. If you do that same thing 6 times, especially with your thick clear coats, you're going to be fighting texture, you're going to be fighting trapping stuff, you might even throw your color off by doing that.
So it's better to let the particles and droplets fold into your fresh paint than your prep paint.
It's called assimilation. It's when your droplets fall into wet film. That's still wet, right?
Yep.
That's minutes ago. So the droplets will fall into that and blend into that rather than sit on top of it. So that's the theory of that. That's why we work against the wind and up the truck. All right, so the cool thing here is that it's Derek's truck. If he screws it up, it's his truck.
No pressure.
No. See, my gun travel speed is pretty quick, right? But look at the coat I'm building, super nice. We'll come over here. Look what I'm doing here. I'm painting past the panel break. That way I don't have an excessive buildup on that panel break. Pretty important. So I'm going to match what I've got on the other side. So now I can come, well, I'm a little higher. Now I can come across here and just build my coat up there. So I'm off to the side, so I can tell and I can keep a consistent gun distance, right? Dust in the edge. Dust in the edge. Dust in the edge. That's all we need.
This is exciting, Kevin.
I'm glad you think so. I love it, man. I love to spray. It's fun. Yep. Take a look for your holidays. You don't have many. Yep. Nice.
What is the technique to always holding air versus letting go of the trigger completely?
It's what I was talking about with the pulsation. If I spray like this, look how heavy it is on that edge.
Right, because you have to think of the air, also the air pressure is changing.
Yes.
When you pulse off.
Yes, it 100% is, because the air hose is actually acting like a storage vessel, and you release the pressure of it until the flow normalizes.
Right, so really you're just turning material on and off, not the air.
100%, that's the best way to put it, and it's all about consistency.
So again, now you're pulling product into the fender, overlapping, so you're not building up the edge.
Exactly. And if we were doing this, I've got a dry-ish edge, so optimal is to go into a wet edge. But look at my body. Watch what I'm doing. I'm doing that elephant shuffle side to side, right? Way less arm movement, way more consistent. I can lock in here and spray like this. I don't have to move my arm, right? It just gives me super consistency on my technique. And I'm off to the side so I can see the reflection, so I know when my structure is closed. I know when the coat is wet. What is that?
I don't know what that was. A piece of tape?
I killed it with it.
Oh, it was a bug?
I don't know.
Came out of these alien suits. Might be from a new world, Kevin.
It might be. Oh well, it's happening. The apocalypse. Yeah. Go a little bit closer to the panel and pick up your travel speed just a taste. There you go. 75% overlap. None of this 50%. Paint has changed. We haven't. There you go. A little closer to the panel. Yep. Check for holidays. Check the front of your door frame. There you go. It looks good. See, I told you he knew how to spray. He was not coming off the fender onto the floor. All right, so this is where it gets tricky. This is where guys debate me and argue with me online and all that kind of stuff, and I don't care. We're going to do push-pull over the top of the roof. So if you want to line your bench up like I'm lining mine up, and I get mine as close as possible to the panel without touching it. So now I'll pick it up my wet edge. Make sure you grab a hold of your air hose, right? So now I've got my wet edge here, and I'm continuing where I left off, managing my air hose, and I'm working my way up to the middle. If I find myself leaning too much, hose over the shoulder, fingertips on the glass, now I can be on my tippy toes, and I'm way past the middle, not way past, but I'm past the middle, right? And what I haven't done is fall into the dang paint. So I'm going to let you pick up that wet edge on the other side.
Where having a beer belly is a disadvantage.
Yes. Perfect. Nice.
Here, box is off, you might as well, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, what if somebody pulls the bed off to replace the fuel pump? And they look and they say, well, you know, I mean, it's a question at this point of taking pride in your work. So I'm going to just hand you the gun over here because we got plenty of air hose. You can just finish up your side.
Good place to practice left hand.
Yeah.
My hat keeps ballooning up.
So the two rules that you broke is you were letting your air hose flop with the gun. You weren't monitoring the air hose, and you went top to bottom.
Okay.
Does it matter in the grand scheme of things? When you're developing habits, yeah, it does.
I was going to ask you on the doors why you start at the bottom and not the top, because
it's like Bob Seger says, man, against the wind. So we've got time, right? We've got an hour between sealer and color. So that doesn't mean we got to put all the color on. We just have to put one coat on. You know, I talk about fast travel speed. I don't mean hurry the process up. I just mean move your equipment faster.
Okay.
We can stop, assess, and move on in just an easy, relaxed manner. If we're obeying the rules of chemistry, it gives us all kinds of time. So don't get trapped, because I do this, and I'm saying this to you as well as to me. I get trapped in a sense of, I got to get this done quick.
Right. Yeah, urgency, fire drill.
Yeah, and we don't. So this is sealer. It's got a catalyst in it. For you guys at home, it's really a bad idea, and it's against the law actually to put wet paint in the trash, in the regular trash. We want to be responsible with this stuff. The way to get around that, especially with hardened materials, is just to let them sit. I let these sit in room temperature. When it feels like it's solid on the bottom, then literally by the state laws and by OSHA and EPA laws, it qualifies as non-hazardous waste.
Okay.
Liquid is hazardous, solid is non-hazardous. And the difference is that when it's in a liquid state, it can leach into the ground. When it's in a solid state, it can't. So keep that in mind at home, guys. And if you have something that's not catalyzed, kitty litter.
I get asked about that a lot.
Yep.
People will see cups of paint laying around on my bench for a few days after a paint job.
Yeah.
And I'm waiting for it to turn into jelly.
Yeah, it's not bad housekeeping. So we're going to spray base coat, and we're going to use the same gun. There you go.
So this is a 1-to-1.
Yeah.
2 to 3 coats. And you could teach us on flash. This is an 8 to 10 minute flash.
Right.
So what does flash mean, Kevin?
Flash is the amount of time it takes for the top surface to dry. Flash is the part of the solvent that makes it wet getting out of the surface. It's called evacuation. So basically your flash time, or your between coat times, is enough time for the solvents that got it to the panel can get out of Dodge and go away, get pulled off as overspray or as VOC.
And you really don't want to rush that and get in a hurry. And I know it's exciting painting. You're seeing progress in color and things like that. But if you apply a second coat too quickly, that first coat's going to start to gas, and chemicals are going to try to escape out of your second coat.
Yep.
And now you're in a world of hurt.
Well, you put a lid on it, essentially, is what happens. And you don't want to do that. What makes paint wet is solvent. If you think about the paint job on the bed, it looks great. There's no solvent in that anymore. It's what's left over. So you got to let the solvent get out of it. How many cars do you think you've painted?
You know, when I was younger, every revival or classic we got, we did some sort of paint job. Scratch and shoot, single stage. I don't know, Kevin, probably 80, 85?
Yeah. And I can see it in your technique, you know. I just want to tweak just tiny little things.
My problem is I've been doing so many of these I call scratch and shoots that you start to learn bad habits, and that's why I'm loving this, is get that fire rekindled of here's the way you should be doing it. We came out at 10:45, we got 5 more minutes.
All right, so pay attention to that. Don't just go in there and hammer it on coat after coat after coat. It's got to outgas, right? I'm stoked that I found a pair of gloves big enough for Derek's hands.
That's pretty good. I appreciate that. Normally I try to pull them on and they rip in the palm, so
Yeah.
they're just finger gloves.
Yeah, and we're gonna get some crusty old guys that have been doing it for 40 years tell us that they don't need gloves and all that stuff, and that's fine. You guys probably don't, but what comes off your hands is sweat, acids, and oils. And we did a 2-step cleaning process on the surface and tack and anti-static. And if I don't have gloves on, if I accidentally touch the surface, I can deposit, you know, all that junk back onto the paint job.
I was going to say, it's not that we're afraid to get our hands dirty. I think we do our fair share of wrenching.
Oh, yeah.
It's just,
Yep.
it's transfer of junk.
It's control of the procedure. There's so much stuff that can go horribly wrong. We control what we can control. All right, so let's put a top on that, and
You got everything you need in there.
it's ready to, yep, this was RTS ready to spray. See, I have to outsmart myself. I have to make myself notes. Did you see the note on the door handle? Scuff around the
Yeah, I
edge?
did, yeah.
Yeah.
I need to get better at that too.
Well, you know what it's like. The phone rings and you get distracted and all that kind of stuff. And I'll never forget. I think we've even talked about this on a podcast. Is when I was still full-time in a collision shop with Paintucation. And I had a cell phone in one hand and a spray gun in the other, and I started talking into the spray gun. and
Then you're spraying the phone.
Yes.
Oh yeah, healthy.
Very healthy. Good deal. Smells like asparagus though. So let's get our hoods on and go in there. If we use the same start-stop place, then
Right.
we're ready to coat right away. And we
Yep.
can be really efficient with our booth time and still obey the rules of the chemistry, right?
Yep. Awesome.
All right. So as far as spraying this stuff goes, it's kind of the same thing. We're after a medium coat or a medium to medium wet coat.
Not used to your trigger on this. Are you one turn out?
It's full open, full wide open. Nice. Good coat.
Thank you, sir.
I know you've seen paint jobs with a little bit of a bulge right there.
Yeah, it comes out.
Sometimes guys will use the panel break as a start-stop point. And it makes logical sense, but it doesn't make chemical sense.
Right.
So you want to change up the start-stop place as much as you can.
Okay.
Slow down a little bit on that bottom part there. Nice. And so Derek's picking up where I left off, picking up his wet edge, and pulling that coat back to where he left off on his door. And he's doing exactly the same that he did the last coat. And the next coat will be exactly the same as that coat.
Do you want me to go back?
You don't have to do this back cab. 2 will be enough on there, but go into your cab corners. And then, of course, the back of the roof, too. Oh, did you get that already?
Yeah.
Okay, if you got it on the first one, don't worry about it. All right, cool. Let's set the timer, reload the gun. So, Derek, what's our between coat time?
So we're at 8 to 10 minutes flash. I set a timer for 10 minutes over here.
Okay. So how long do you think it took us from the time I started my fender to where you finished your roof?
15 minutes.
Yeah. So there's our flash time.
Yep.
You know, we're not in a panic. We got all kinds of time today, and we got daylight, and we got a heated booth, so we don't have to hurry
but just to be aware of time.
Right.
When I get stressed out, I get time pressure, and it clinches me up, and I want to hurry, and I want to hurry and get it done, and it's a situation that I have to fight, you
Right,
know,
yeah.
because we're all trying to get stuff done, and it just becomes a thing that I have to constantly remind me. That's why I've got timers sitting out everywhere.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Boy, it's humid today, isn't it?
It is. Like, you ever heard of a back crack waterfall?
No.
Don't go chasing it.
Okay.
You're not going to like what you find. But I am sweating.
You're talking about the booty suit.
Whew.
All right, so we're in theory and in practice, we're ready for another coat, right?
Yep.
Cool, let's hit it. All right, so let's take a quick look. You can see the reflection, and I'm looking for tiny little dirt nibs, and I don't see any.
No, there's no dirt in here.
No, it's really, really clean. So I'm happy with that. That tells me we did a good job cleaning it and prepping it. And of course I washed it with a hose and water before we brought it in here. And everything looks really good. Be mindful right here when you come back and coat that fender, give that a shot in there. It's a little hazy,
Yeah.
a little light.
Okay.
Mine too, so I'm saying it out loud to me and to you.
I wonder what Reba McIntyre's doing today.
Wondering if there's life out there.
I was laughing the other day when we were talking about the truck. And I said, I don't do this new truck stuff, Kevin. And you were like, dude, it's 30 years old. Oh, I felt so old immediately. Okay.
All right, so we've got here, I don't know if you guys can see it. Might be on the glare.
There we go.
It's something weird. So I don't know what it is, but I don't like it, and I kind of don't trust it. So I'm just gonna, this is 600 grit, and I'm not bearing into it. I'm just brushing over the top of it. So people have the misunderstanding that you can't do repairs in the middle of a paint job. Now with single stage, yeah, you can't. You're permitted to do the repair after it's done. Well, with the multi-stage, like a two-stage like this, whatever it is, that's gone. So now I can come back and, you know, by the time I do my next coat, and certainly the third coat, because we're doing 3, that's covered. So you can stop, repair, and move on. And we have time to do that. I'm glad you saw that, because I didn't. I'd have just hammered on top of it, but I guess your eyes are better than mine. Anyway, so there you go. You can fix it in the middle of the process.
That's great. The rest of the truck looks great. Didn't see any dirt or anything in it. The importance of cleaning.
Just in case. All right, so Derek did something every single time that makes me very happy. He hung my spray hose up on the hook every single time. Now, me and Jeremy talked about this as well. From there down, you can't clean it off, but if this falls into the floor, it's going to pick up dirt, whatever we tracked in here on it. All those best practice things, they just add up. They add up to this. Looking super clean and no surprises, right?
I like it. Surgical.
Surgical. I trained myself to paint with both hands.
Yeah. I always try to, whether it's on the roof or even spraying primer, try to use my left hand, because sometimes you get in a position you have to.
You have to. And it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, but it's kind of important to know how to do. Ow. All right, so got that. In there. There you go.
Kevin,
Yes.
thanks for this opportunity.
No, thanks for the help. I only have to paint half the truck.
I'm very grateful.
Well, this whole thing's been fun, man. It's been a fun truck to build, and we're putting some good content out there with it also. Slow down a little bit, close your structure up a little bit more. There you go. There you go. That's just perfect right there.
Where was that? There it is.
So I can reach, I stop there, right? So I'm in my comfort zone. I can easily reach from end to end without having to stretch or be uncomfortable. It's like welding and doing that rehearsal pass before you actually commit to feeding the wire in. And then when I get up to here, I can do this and lock in, and my technique, I can get my technique super nice. And you guys at home, you probably can't see this, but what I'm also doing is I'm using the reflection of the light that's right beside Derek to see how much coverage I'm getting. So we're gauging the reflection. Even though this isn't a very shiny product, I'm looking at the reflection right where my gun hits the surface to see that I've covered it. I'm just going to finish it up. I won't give you the bad buzzer too many times. Okay, so tuck under a little bit more, get it more full of a more full coat down on that rocker. There you go, perfect. Go in a little tighter and slow down a little bit more. That's the coat that you want right there. Yeah, not wet, but complete. So I'm going to bust you on that. You're light on there. You can tell by your masking paper there. Nice.
White Snake or Aerosmith?
Oh man, Aerosmith all day. Yeah, White Snake took Aerosmith lessons.
Love it.
Don't you think?
I think so, yeah.
Not disparaging those guys. They were a great band with great songs, and the legendary John Sykes, and what an amazing guitarist. And Coverdale, man, he sang with Deep Purple. So, yeah. But for OG, Aerosmith, 100%. See this, you can put the air hose right where your waterfall goes.
Oh, yeah.
And the cheeks hold it together. They hold the hose in the same spot.
I don't know if I'm not fit, but... Used to be. Until YouTube's.
All right, so I'm just going to finish up the top. I'm going to go past to give you a little bit of a gift there. Make sure I'm covered here. And right here, that's the only thing we see. So I'm going to do a second coat here. On our third coat, we'll come back and fill the rest of that in, but I think we're good there.
Okay, so light coat on the back. We're still covering it, but we don't have to get carried away.
It's going to be covered, and honestly, 2 coats probably gives us full coverage, but I did 3 on all the rest of the parts. So I owe it to procedure. It's no longer my rule. Because if I want repeatability and consistency, I've got to repeat my process and be consistent. And Derek's picking up the wet edge in the center and working his way out. Yep, nice. Good pace too. He's nice and relaxed while he's spraying because we don't need to freak out and panic. Now he's just picking up the excess or the back of the cab, and he's going to finish under the glass like me.
Boom.
Perfect. I'm just going to double check our little boo-boo on the side here.
It looked like you got good coverage on it.
Yep, it's gone. It's gone.
Now, I've been preaching this whole time about consistency and repeating, so it's no surprise what we're going to do. We're going to do exactly and precisely what we did on the first 2 coats. So there's no real need to show you guys all of that. Just trust that we did the same methodical approach to the 3rd coat of color that we did to the 1st and the 2nd.
Last time I sweat like this was state wrestling many years ago.
Well, Derek has completely blown out the backside of his spray suit, so that's why we can't have nice things here.
Surprise.
Yeah.
Weird.
But we're done with color, right?
Yeah, it's exciting. It looks fantastic. I mean, it's so clean and smooth and just looks like, I'm excited to see the clear. You guys got to hang around until you see clear go on. It is going to be incredible.
Yeah, it is. 2 guys juggling a spray gun in the paint booth. And the reason that it's a perfect base coat job, and I'm going to say the P word, is that we follow procedure. And it doesn't make a difference if you're in my booth or a full-on water bottom downdraft booth or $1 million something or whatever Dave Kindig has. It doesn't matter. All you have to do is make the paint happy. Remember that phrase. So we're not using this gun anymore. We're going to thank it. We're going to put it back on the shelf. And I'm even going to preset the trigger and the fan before I put it down. So that way, when I'm overstressed and ready to spray, it's ready for me. But it's just one of those things. It sounds like I'm bragging, but I got master certified as a spray technician from Axalta Paint up at their compound that's embedded in Hendrick Motorsports in
sweet.
Charlotte. Oh, dude,
Yeah.
It's amazing. But the training up there was really humbling and really eye-opening. And there was a room full of guys that were career spray technicians. And we were all thinking, okay, we got to be on our game and perfect spray technique and perfect this and that. Come to find out, the instructor followed us around with a camera without us knowing it.
Okay.
We take a break and go back into the classroom and you say, Kevin, do you feel like you had good technique on that hood? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I did. Okay, let's take a look. Click, and I'm porpoising on the hood. And I'm sweeping and I'm arcing as I'm traveling. And you know, next break he'll say something like, did you tack that panel off properly? Yes, sir, I did. Of course, you know, me and Jeremy were talking at the same time, and I missed a corner.
Yep.
And he said, if you're not going to tack that corner, throw the tack rag in the trash and just spray. Screw it. If you're not going to follow through with every little thing, you don't need to follow through with anything. So it was really humbling because it wasn't about how good I could spray. It was about how I respected the process, and it really stuck with me, man. You know?
Yeah, no, it makes sense. There's a lot more than just pulling a trigger. There's a whole gamut of things you have to do right.
Yep. And I say that, and I say it over and over again, and I say it out loud because it's important for guys at home to understand that you don't have to have a $20,000 spray booth, and you don't have to have a $1,000 spray gun, but you have to have a commitment to the process, right?
Yep.
Once you do that, you're going to see your results get better.
Okay, now what?
Now we go have lunch while the base color dries.
All right. That sounds good to me.
All right, so you guys do what you're going to do. We're going to go grab a burger or something, and we'll catch up with you. Now it's fun. Fun times are ahead because it's clear coat. Now we get to see what's underneath. It's not
I'm
gonna end
so
well.
excited.
And
I just can't hide. Where are you at?
I don't know. Okay. I'm sorry. Pointer Sisters.
I needed was it acapella octave?
Something.
Harmony.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next time, I'll be quicker on the uptake. All right. So we're back from lunch. Derek just turned the lights of the booth on, and we're going to just do a little walk around and see what everything looks like. So the purpose of this is to look for little things like that hair that we found in the door. Look for dirt nibs, anything that we might need to fix or catch up on if there's light spots or anything like that. But for the most part, it looks super clean. Coverage is great.
Your bodywork and panel gap work is phenomenal.
Thank you. It looks good, and it's going to look nice under clear, and then we're going to polish it. So I'm happy with all of this.
And I know that your coverage here, this is your side, this is the Derek side. I know that his coverage is great here because the masking paper shows me that his coats have been continuous and they've been wet and even underneath here. You can see how consistent the overspray line is on the paper, and you can just kind of read the surface and tell that his technique was good. Good job, man.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Ironically, this is probably going to be the cleanest panel on the whole truck that'll never ever be seen.
Yeah. Very cool. Looks great.
Cool. All right, let's, we'll suit up first because we're in street clothes and we just had fried chicken. We'll suit up and then tack it off and then start mixing clear.
So this is the Nason XL 2K clear coat.
Yep. And the way these secondary lines work, Nason it's been a brand for a long, long time. And people associate it with cheap paint. It's not. It's less expensive paint. And it's still got the quality of Exalta behind it, but it's more budget friendly. And what happens with a paint manufacturer is when EPA regulations go up and paint gets regulated out of being 50 state legal, they put it off to a secondary brand. So it doesn't mean that it's not good quality. It just means that it's now not in compliance nationally. So it's still great quality.
Yeah. All right. So this is a 2-to-1, right?
Yep.
But you're adding in your slow reducer as well.
Yes, we've got the clear coat. We've got a slow activator.
Okay.
And we've got a slow reducer that we're adding to it. So this is keeping our temperature right now in the booth hasn't changed. It's about 75 degrees. This is 85 degree rated. So we're keeping 10 degrees above ambient or above metal temperature.
Okay.
So that's a nice rule of thumb for large panels and for something that you want the clear coat to sheet out or lay out a little bit flatter.
You've got marks on here. Sorry to interrupt, but what are these on here now?
So when you look at the back side of this, you see 2-to-1 to 10%.
Okay, so you're doing 10% reducer.
Yes.
After the 2-to-1. Okay.
Yes. I don't know if you've watched any of my stuff on my channel, but I'm really good with math.
That makes two of us.
So I don't want anything to do with math. So I do it all here first. So I know, and I make a mark with a Sharpie on the back side of the bucket, and I don't have to think about it anymore. People want to know how much clear, how much product, how much can we use? Well, we've had 3 coats of color and 1 coat of sealer teaching us how much product it's going to take to get around.
Right.
So this is about the same consistency as a sealer, and we found that probably a 32 ounce cup gets us all the way around with a little bit left over.
Right.
So that's kind of the rule that we're going to go by. So you guys know that you don't have to do the math every time. If you use the same travel path, the same recipe of your spray strategy is what I call it, it'll teach you how much paint to mix.
Okay.
And so also what we're going to do is we're going to spray this coat, we're going to have more than enough, then we'll pour it back in the cup and see how much we used. Then we know how much to mix next time.
Kind of as a check and balance.
Absolutely.
What's left over. Nailed it. So there's our 2 parts.
So now we've got 2-to-1, and we're going to do the 10%. And I'll let you do the honors of blending. How long should you stir?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So the answer that I was fishing for was 2 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, and scrape the sides every once in a while.
I can see it now. This looks like one shiny paint job.
So this is the same gun that me and Jeremy used to do the bed. So again, same recipe, we'll get the same results. This is a 5500. It's a 1.2 fluid tip. 1.2 is a very small fluid tip, and it's going to break up the paint particles into smaller droplets. And because we've added slow activator, and because we've added 10% reducer component, combined with the small droplet, thereby, in theory, we get a smoother coating.
Okay.
Yeah. We're mixing our product after we've checked the truck, after we've tacked it off, after we've blown it down, after we know 100% we're ready for coatings. I've made this mistake in the past. I'm ready for clear, I come out, mix my clear, and then I go check the truck, and oh my gosh, there's something wrong.
Got
The
a
hose hit the
boo-boo or
side. You got a
something.
boo-boo.
Yeah.
So now your clock is ticking on your pot life, and you know, it's just one of those things. It's that tiny little nuance of when do you mix your clear? It sounds like a silly question, but you mix your clear when you're absolutely ready to pull the trigger and spray.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
so the same thing. You see my travel speed, and I'm doing full trigger.
Okay.
But because I'm doing full trigger, look at my gun distance.
Yep.
I'm what, 6 inches maybe?
Yep.
5. And I'm not working myself to death here. It's not frantic. I'm not being crazy with my, you know, I'm not in a panic. But I'm gauging my overlap by the wet edge that I'm creating. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, so now I get up and I'm comfortable again, and now I know where to start. And it seems like I'm moving really fast, but I'm not, because I'm watching the surface and I'm making sure that my surface is just a closed coat, it's just a nice wet coat. Now I can come back and hit my edges right here where I've been missing, and around the arch. Your turn.
Oh, that looks so good.
So we took our time and worked our way around the vehicle the same way we did for the previous materials. And I gave Derek a few tips here and there, but after a while, I'm just watching him paint. All right, so we're between coats. What does CDS tell us about between coat times?
5 to 10 minute flash to hand.
We follow the same recipe from the fenders up. We're ready for another coat right now.
Yeah,
right?
go straight back in.
Go straight back in.
Yep.
So that's exactly what we're going to do. But I wanted to ask you, how did you feel after that coat? Do you feel good about how it looked?
Yeah, oh, fantastic. It looks really, really good. It's incredible how having someone watch, like I felt like I was at the right distance, but you just saying in and a slightly faster changed everything. It flowed better,
yeah.
it looks better.
Just that little bit of feedback.
So people can learn this stuff on their own time, learn as you go. Paintucation.com, right?
Yes. The only thing that the online course is Paintucation University 101. The only thing that it doesn't have is me in there barking at you in the booth. So it's a really good course. But what we also offer, when you do the Paintucation, and I'm not trying to ShamWow anybody, I'm not trying to sell you on anything, but when we have the courses, I have a private Facebook group that there's no drama, nobody yells at each other, nobody tells you that you're doing the wrong thing. It's a Paintucation U Facebook that you can ask questions. There's an internal community in the learning management system that the courses are on, and there's feedback, there's tests. You got to pass a test to go to the next module. So it's not just a video that you watch.
It actually benchmarks you and says...
It benchmarks you.
Yeah.
That's the best way
Yeah.
I've ever heard it said. Scalpel, sponge, cold beer, jackknife, M16.
That must be a veteran hospital organization.
I guess so. Or Tennessee.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to let you tighten these down
No,
anymore.
no, yeah,
All right.
I'm grounded from that.
Yeah. All right. Back in the booth. So I'm going to say Derek's got a wetter coat than I do. He's got a nicer coat of paint on this side of the truck.
Oh, stop.
Well, no. But we both got enough on there. No, I take that back. Mine's better. So that's it. So nice work, man. It's a cool opportunity to work with you like this. It's awesome.
I have a lot more confidence.
Good.
Say that.
Good.
I mentioned in the booth, like, you put it a really good way that also hit home with me, was like having a spotter in racing. You may feel like in the moment what you're doing is correct, but having a different perspective of someone that has experience saying, try this out or look at this. My technique is definitely going to change going forward, and I really appreciate that. And I definitely do have more confidence leaving here today. So,
well, that's great. That's great. So Derek's on his way here. I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of things in place that are going to keep us from scratching the paint, because guess what? We're going to put the bed on the chassis. This is a cool thing to see this thing finally starting to come together. And it's great to have anybody's help, but it's really nice to have Derek here helping. So I'm just going to kind of dress this up and put some bumpers in place, because we're using an engine hoist to lift the bed and then drop it gently down like it's hot. Derek actually had a flat tire on the way in. We were just talking about how that never really happens.
I was panicking. I'm like, what do I do now?
Says the guy who solves problems every day with cars that let him down. But anyway, we hadn't looked at, I did look at the truck, but this is one of my favorite things.
Yeah.
When you do a paint job, we come back in the morning and check it out, different eyes, different light. So let's go take a look.
I'm excited. I am excited. Oh man, it looks really good.
Yeah. And I smoked it over. There's no runs hanging off of the edges. And like we talked about, this little cove in here with these C10s, it's incredibly difficult not to get heavy on those areas. But there's nothing. I mean, this is my side. Your side is arguably the same or better, but it looks really good. And there's no bulge here, so that technique of painting past the panel breaks works really well.
Really good, yeah.
Yeah.
I was worried about it running in here.
Right. Well, I was constantly telling you to push in, you know.
Yeah. And I brought a scraper. I thought I was going to have to cut runs off the bottom, but it looks fine.
No icicles. I have done that with enamels. Have you chased a run down?
Oh yeah, just run it down the panel. No, it looks fantastic. And there's hardly anything in it.
No, there's a couple of pieces of trash. I'm going to say there's probably 8 or 9 pieces of trash that we would have to nib. So if this was a collision job, I'd nib those flat with some 2000 spot buffet and rock and roll.
Push her out the door, yeah.
Yeah, but this one, of course, we're cutting it flat, except for the places we don't need to. You know, I mean, it's already flat. There's zero texture on the peaks and edges like that. So it's going to be a cakewalk to polish this thing, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get the tape off this thing. That's the funnest part, is taking all the paper and tape off.
All right, well, cool. Well, let's get this thing unwrapped, and maybe we'll set that bed on it, see how it looks.
Yeah, let's do that.
Cool.
Oh, I forgot how good this truck sounds.
It sounds so healthy. Boy, this is gonna polish out nice, man.
Yeah, it looks great. Wow.
Cool.
She's got to shine.
Yep.
Very nice. Very nice. Great work, Kevin.
Thanks, man. It's been fun.
This is such a killer setup.
Yeah.
It's wild this is all bolt-in.
I know. Somewhat cutting. And you know, I talked to Blaine about it, where a lot of guys will weld them in, and he said there's absolutely no need structurally. It's designed very well.
Yeah. It's cool that, I mean, you could tackle it in your driveway. You don't have to be scared to, you know, other than the cutting part, it's just running bolts.
We good so far? Am I centered pretty much?
Looks like it. Yeah, that's a good call.
You never know. All right, let's do that. And that. That just guaranteed that it'll never touch. All right, we good?
Yep.
Okay, so the legs have to go that way.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm around the coilovers, we're good.
Okay, I think you're, whoop, down there.
Should go down a hair?
Yeah.
And it'll come forward a taste when it goes down also.
Yeah, okay, stop there.
Okay, hang on. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, I've got to come back on this end. The roll pan was about to touch the frame rail. Okay, so I'm coming down a little more.
Hold on, I got the filler neck. Hold there.
Okay, I've got it steady.
You might have to go back up a little. I don't want to scratch it when I swing it.
All right, I'm coming up a few pumps.
Down again.
All right, coming down slowly.
We got touchdown.
All right, pressure's off the bed stand. We can scoot it my way just a taste. Okay, there we go. All right, let's get this silly thing out of here.
Ah, looks so good.
All right, so let's take the pads out. All right, so this is fun to see this truck, man. This is months in the making.
Slick.
It is slick.
It's sharp. It is really sharp. The lines are so crisp on it. You know?
Yeah.
Everything is, your bodywork is just speechless.
Thanks, man. Thank you.
It is really nice. It's gonna look good doing donuts.
I think it is too.
Wow.
We've got room here. Room in the front. We got a little bit of camber dialed into the front, but hey.
Yep. I'll fix that never. Leave it for cornering.
Yeah, there you go.
It's gonna look great with the tires on it. Now I'm really excited.
Yeah.
We have like 5 days left to get this finished, so it's fine.
I wish you wouldn't have said that. It doesn't make it not true, but I wish you wouldn't have said that. The promise of this truck was so fun, and to be able to see it to this point it's just cool.
You gotta feel like 1,000 tons just came off your shoulders.
100%.
With the bed on and
Yeah.
it looks so good.
And to get the cab shot. You know, it's like, yeah, I could jump in there and paint it, but I only had to do half of it. So it was really good.
Roll pan was a good call, man. They should have come from the factory like that. I know they can't because of collision, but man.
Right. And this roll pan particularly, I like the swoopiness of the tag pocket also.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Bodywork worked out good on it. I just like it, man.
Smoke taillights.
We're gonna do smoke taillights. I think the only thing that's gonna suck about having this truck finished is that I give it back to you. So maybe you'll let me borrow it for a parade or something.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you still haven't seen the bed floor, and the Bedwood Company has done an outstanding job on it, and it's just gonna look so nice.
Yeah, I think the contrast, the way that color is gonna pop against the black is gonna be really nice. We haven't scratched anything yet, so there's still opportunity.
Okay.
So if you want to put the hood on and gouge the fender.
Yeah. You know what? No, I don't want to put the hood on. I've still got to work on these little pocket panels here.
Okay.
Because I may or may not have covered them in gray overspray.
Oh.
So I've got to figure that out.
A lot of this laid so dang smooth, like.
Yeah, up here,
Gosh.
no, there's no need. The DOI, the quality of the reflection is perfect. On the flats is really the only place I'm going to focus.
Yeah.
And it'll
Yeah,
just
from
bring it to life.
Here to here, basically.
Pretty much, yeah. Because when you cut and rub, you sacrifice a little bit of strength in the film. If all you're going to do is go to World of Wheels with it or something,
Right.
we'll go all the way down there and frame rails on the whole 9. But there's no need. There's nothing to repair here. A little bit of texture is actually stronger against road chips than a completely flat surface.
I'm taking pictures. I gotta show people. I'm not used to taking a picture and seeing a big office in the paint. Oh, it's so good.
All right, so I worked him like a rented step mule, but he came through. He said his knees weren't even sore.
No, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad.
No, in all seriousness, thanks, man, for your help. It's good to have skilled hands, and it was nice to have you in the booth, too.
Thank you. No, the opportunity was great, and you definitely gave me, like I was saying yesterday, a lot more confidence and some really good tips and techniques to work on, and I'm going to apply it very soon. I'm going to start painting some more stuff.
Good,
so, yeah.
good. Well, as always, let me know if I can help with
Yeah.
anything, and it's going to be a great truck. And by the way, you're watching this now. C10's in the city, right?
Yeah, May 3rd. We'll both be there. You can come out and hang out with us, say hi, grab some merchandise if you want, see the OBS in person, walk around the thing, touch it, smell it, sit in it, whatever you want to do.
Yep.
And we might have another truck there and a bunch of stuff. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a killer show.
Yeah.
So please come out, hang out.
Yeah. So for now, I'm going to sign off. Thank you, guys. Thanks for your comments. Thanks for your input. Thanks for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I'm just blown away by the way this channel is growing, and it's you. I do what I do, but you guys make it grow and make it happen. So thanks, man. And we'll see you next Saturday.
Appreciate you guys. Yes. Rah.